Live Hangout on air. This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you're to visit my website, you type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling and the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. I'm with Adam Strom. Hola, Adam.
Hola, Tom.
All right, Adam. I said last week how I know that we're getting people listening who are not seeking solutions for debt. You know, they're kind of listening for entertainment, and that continues to be true this week. And here's how I know that. We've got minutes of people paying attention to us, and I also have minutes that are traceable to people who begin their click on our Hangout with credit card debt talk. So they're credit card debt. So they're obviously looking for solutions on credit card. They end up linked to us, and then they stay. But that is a small portion of the minutes that of the attention we're getting. So that I'm going to do that again. We're going to chat about some pop item at the end. The other thing that I wanted to say about traffic and this as a marketing call is I think we need to kind of put at the beginning this disclaimer, kind of a short version of it. So the reason why is we ended up talking about one of the clients, and we ended up saying, if she had done this, then she would have had this glorious program. And when I listened to it after, Adam, it kind of sounded like a sales presentation. So I just want to make sure if we fall into that trap again, that at least we've done these disclaimers at the front end of it. So does this sound like a reasonable start?
Sounds reasonable to me.
All right. I have this rehearsed, though I haven't warned you. I'm going to prompt you. So I'm going to basically go through that short, organized, condensed list that we have, and then I'll ask you to explain the details. So I'm going to start with the one on taxes. Adam and our listeners, please forgive us. Taxes are meant to be talked to a tax professional. Adam has one on staff, and so that is a disclaimer. You might be charged and have to pay tax for the money that you save. We're not going to spend time on it on this phone call. It is a warning, and that's all I'm going to say about that. The other topic that I am going to have you expand on, Adam, is we have these disclaimers that say this isn't something, this is something else. Don't think we're this. So kind of bundle those together.
Yes, we are not an ice cream sundae.
Yes, so expand on those. What are the disclaimers include, maybe why, on what this is and what it isn't?
Well, it isn't debt consolidation. It isn't consumer credit finance counseling, or consumer credit counseling as it's called. It is not a monthly payment to creditors program. It is not a tidy, neat way to tie up your debt. That's what it is not. It is a last-ditch effort to avoid bankruptcy. It is a very good way to save a lot of money if your credit score is not an issue. It is a great way to get cleaned up in less time than bankruptcy and restore your good credit faster than a bankruptcy would.
Okay, Adam, and I'm going to say this. The reason that those disclaimers are so important is if people get into your program and they really think they're in something else, like they think you're going to be paying their creditors monthly, or they think it's consolidation, then it's a disaster. Say more about that.
That happens quite often.
Get details on that. What would a conversation of someone that has misunderstood gets into your program? How does it reconcile? Does it reconcile? Should it reconcile?
Well, hang on. You have to understand something that prerequisites this, which is in the sales call where they are explained our program, they are told outright we will not be making monthly payments to your creditors until a deal is arranged. That could take anywhere from 1 month till the end of your program. They are then told that again in the contract when they sign it, and then they are then told that a third time on the welcome call after they join.
Right.
Quite often, a week after that, they call us up and say, hey, no payment was made to my creditors this month.
You're right.
To which we answer, like your sales rep told you, and like the contract said, and like our welcome department told you, we don't make monthly payments to your creditors, because if we do, they're going to want the full amount you owe, because you're able to make the monthly payments. This whole program is predicated on financial hardship and the inability to continue making those minimum monthly payments for the next 32 years.
All right, Adam. So if you've got this situation, you got a client that's expectations of your program are leave a gap with your program. So if it's just the client expectations that need to be adjusted to your program, and actually your program was suited for the client just didn't understand what he or she or they as a couple were getting into. You can reconcile the client's understanding and they remain a client. So I assume that happens sometimes. I assume it also happens where they got in the wrong program and they've got to drop out. Could you give an example of each?
Okay, well, the first is what happens most of the time, is we re-explain it to them, we go over it. It's like starting from scratch and reselling them the entire program even though they've already signed.
Right, right.
That is a pain in the butt, but that's what usually ends up happening.
Right.
The other way is, oh, I thought this was something else and I want to cancel, in which case they have to fill out the cancellation page they are left when they sign their contract, send it in. We have to tell Global to close their account. It's a big rigmarole.
Right. So can you think of a client who, panicked, I didn't understand it, I'm getting out, and understandably, if they thought the program was something else, they get out. I assume they don't pay a financial penalty, not a large one anyways. That client is getting out for good reasons, or in every case, do you think they should have stayed if they would have been explained better earlier that they would have been a good client in the long run, or do some of them get out for the right reason?
Some of them get out for the right reason. Most of the time, though, they're too busy panicking to get out for the right reason.
Right. So they get out for the wrong. They get out for the wrong reason. They get out because they're panicked.
Right. They get out, and then a year later, they call us back, usually asking, "How do I get into your program again? I'm being sued by everybody."
Right.
And by then, it's too late. By then, we recommend them to a bankruptcy attorney because there's now no escrow and no way of saving them.
Right. Okay, Adam. So I haven't lost track of where we're going. So I'm trying to do disclaimers. I covered the tax one, and then I said, okay, then there's this collection of disclaimers that I think is about 3, and it says, we are not this, we are this, and it's clarification. You just covered those. And now I'm going to move on to the other disclaimers that are really more where the rubber hits the road when these disclaimers are absolutely necessary. And one is before a judgment, and if there is a judgment, a warning that there might be a lawsuit, and if there's a lawsuit, what might happen. So do those together, Adam. The other disclaimers covering before and after judgment.
Oh, gosh.
Adam, forgive me. I asked a leading question, before and after judgment, and I didn't include if there is a judgment. Not all of your clients get sued. I want to make that clear.
No, not
right,
at
right,
all.
Right.
In fact, not close.
All right, go ahead.
To do this, I have to open up a contract. So can you give me about 20 seconds?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's see. Who's a recent contract? This one will work. Let's go to the disclaimers just so we can go over them as a whole. Here we go. So like you said, we have the this is not a loan and this is not debt consolidation.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the tax thing that you explained earlier. Now, these are the important ones. Credit bureaus will not report your accounts paid when we've settled them. They will report them settled. This used to have a negative impact, but no longer does on your FICO score.
Okay.
So that's the next one. Next is the client does not want to file for bankruptcy.
Adam, I gotta press you to, or I'm gonna restate to give concise words. So in other words, disclaimer is, hey, client, beware, your credit score is gonna crash.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
The client has to also warrant that they have a financial hardship. There are about 100 different possibilities that can be considered financial hardship.
Okay.
And they have to say that they do not want to file for bankruptcy and do not expect to seek one while in the program.
Right.
As far as judgments go, judgments are simply debts that have continued to go unpaid. That's really all they are in the scheme of things. The only difference is they are no longer unsecured. They are now secured by a judgment from a court stating that the money is in fact owed.
All right, get that out of professional jargon, unsecured to secured. What's the practical meaning?
The practical meaning is a credit card company, unless you bank with them, cannot grab funds out of your account, cannot garnish you, cannot do any of that until a court certifies by judgment that that money is actually owed to them.
Okay.
Okay? If you do bank with the creditor that you are not paying, they can go right into your bank account and take it without a court. So we always advise clients who bank at Chase but have a Chase debt enrolled, stop banking at Chase.
Right, right. Which is
And
not
we
always easy.
review that.
Which is not always easy. Sometimes they have a mortgage or something else.
Right. Well, mortgages won't matter. It won't affect their mortgage. But
Okay.
a lot of times they'll have like a savings account they forget they have, a Christmas club account or something, and all of a sudden they'll find out it has a zero balance.
Right, right, right.
And they tend to go irate at that point.
And Chase
We
can do
warn
that.
them
Chase can do that without a judgment.
Right. They're owed the money. They know they're owed the money. You have the money in another account. They'll take their money.
Right, right.
Now, they can't take money out of a Citibank or a Wells Fargo or any other bank's account. Just
Or
their own.
your paycheck, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Or unless it's their own. If you work for Chase, they can garnish you without a court order.
Okay. Adam, you didn't say collection calls and collection letters.
I didn't get there yet. I'm still working on this judgment.
I want to do it in my order. Go ahead.
A little patience, Mr. Duty.
Adam, I'm in a New York subway. We are not famous for patience.
I am in the North American desert, and patience is all we do. So, the next part is this. Becoming secured means that once they take you to court and get a judgment, they can go after your bank accounts, no matter what bank they're with. They can seize your tax returns. They can seize certain property that is not exempt from seizure. They can garnish your paycheck. And so when there is a judgment pending or a judgment issued, we immediately work constantly to settle that debt before any of the negative impact would affect you.
Right. And preferably, the client would have enough money before that judgment is, or before that, before they are summoned, before they are sued, and those summonses don't happen.
We have a 97% success rate at avoiding any liens or garnishment.
Right.
So that's pretty darn good. Only 3 out of 100 people will ever see a lien put or a garnishment put on them. And we usually, of those 3%, we can usually get them reversed within a week.
Right. Now, Adam, I just listened to the debate, and I heard Donald Trump talk about bankruptcy in
Well, he's the expert.
Atlantic City. Now, what he said is what I did is I used the laws of this country to my advantage. We're talking about people getting sued. Obviously, the creditors are using laws and attempting to have it to their advantage without any consideration of the shared responsibility that they have along with the person who has overspent and underpaid. Do you believe that what you're doing is the same as what Donald Trump says? You're using the laws to your client's advantage.
Well, that is correct. See, the banks hire very high-level attorneys to make sure that they make the most out of how the laws can help them. The typical consumer cannot afford to do that. And so companies like mine can help even the playing field because we do know the rules. I can spout you the entire Fair Debt Collection Practices Act off the top of my head. The
All right,
Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Adam, but answer this. It sort of sounds like if your clients are getting sued, then it's because they're breaking the rules. How does this work? They're getting sued, but they're not breaking the rules. How are they using rules to their advantage when it seems like they're breaking them?
It seems like it, but they're not breaking them. Anytime you're more than 30 days past due on a bill, the right to sue comes into effect. The bank has the right to sue you for their money to secure their payment. But you have a lot of rights as well. You have the right to be defended in that lawsuit. You have the right to dispute the amount owed. You have a right.
Provided you have hardship. Provided you have hardship, please add that.
Well, you don't have to have hardship. You can still dispute the amount that's owed.
Okay.
You have a right to representation, which some collection firms don't even acknowledge the right to representation. They won't speak to an attorney representing the client. They must speak to the client live, at which point we let it go to court because then the case gets dismissed because they didn't allow the client to have an attorney.
Oh, isn't that a nice call? I knew you had that trouble before. I wasn't aware you navigated past it, but you have. It's not an issue anymore.
It's not an issue. We had one case that's quite interesting. So let me go off on a sidetrack for one moment.
No, Adam,
We,
Adam, we're almost done with these disclaimers. I just want to summarize. So, in other words, I did the thing on the tax. There's this thing about tax. You got to talk to a tax professional. Adam has one on staff. I'm not letting Adam talk about that one because I don't want to say any more than I've already said.
tax, tax,
Secondly,
tax.
secondly, we've got these ones that are disclaimers. It's this, it's not that. They're disclaimers for clarification to help people understand what they've signed up for and what they have not. And then it's these collection calls, crash credit score, and collection letters, which happen before someone is sued, and then if they are sued, all the things that you went into. Those are basically the tax, the clarifications, the before and after lawsuit messy things that happen. And does that
Correct.
cover it? So
That covers everything but one disclaimer, which is the client must agree not to attempt to obtain new credit while in the program.
Right. Okay. All right. Go on to what I just wanted to finish those, Adam. Go ahead.
Little sidebar about bending the rules. And I will name this collection agency right out loud today because they deserve it. And because I can back up what I'm saying. United Collection Bureau was suing one of our clients, or was attempting to collect, actually, not suing, was attempting to collect from one of our clients. We spoke with them, we navigated everything on behalf of the attorney representing the client. We got a settlement with them, and it was a rather advantageous one. We then set up an electronic payment to the creditor, and they denied to accept the electronic payment even after they had agreed to accept it, claiming that the account number was being used by somebody else. Of course it is. All of our clients have the same account number because it's an escrow account.
Right.
So then we mailed them a check, a paper check, to appease them. We mailed them out 2 paper checks. They returned the checks to us saying, these checks are drawn on an escrow account and they're therefore unacceptable. At that point, our attorney advised us she no longer owes the money. They refused to accept payment on their agreement in the form of a paper check, which is considered legal tender in this country. Therefore, in a court of law, we would be able to tell the judge, Your Honor, they obviously do not want to be paid. They rejected payment twice.
And they not just sent the check back, they documented why they sent the check back.
Yeah, they gave a reason why, but that's not a legitimate reason. A check is a check.
It's not just like you got a check back. They explained it wasn't a stand-up in court kind of explanation, but you did have them. In other words, you have definitive proof that they did decline it. They didn't just send it back and they could deny. They could say it was returned in the mail. They actually rejected it. Actively
rejected the payment outright.
Yeah.
And for that reason, that client will never have to pay that debt.
Okay. Now, this is rare, Adam. Why are you bringing this up? It is rare.
It is not rare. We've had 11 of those cases in 3 months.
Wow.
This one collection agency is so hyped up on not dealing with debt settlement attorneys or debt settlement companies that they refuse to accept payments in any form that might come from a debt settlement company. And unfortunately for them, they're ignoring the legalities of not accepting the payment. It's sort of like if you walk into a Starbucks and order a Starbucks for $4 and try to pay in pennies. They do not have the right to not accept them. They may not want to. It's going to take 10, 15 minutes to count them out, but they must accept them. Pennies are legal tender.
All right, Adam, I hate to give big banks any credit, but it seemed that they were taking actions in a visual attempt to get more money when it's no doubt was going to net them less. And then it seems over the years that they started doing things a little smarter. And this is obviously a smaller company. It's not a big bank. I don't recognize the name. Do you think they will get slapped into line as well? First of all, is the statement I made about the bigger banks true? And then does it apply to this smaller collection agency?
What you said about the bigger banks is somewhat true. It's not completely true. If this were PolitiFact, you'd have a half thumbs up.
Okay.
In any case, the fact of the matter is that big banks have always had a problem with debt settlement companies. And they have incredible amounts of lobbying power. And legitimate debt settlement companies like mine, in order to be licensed, we have to go to the banking division of the state in order to be licensed. So basically, the big banks are allowed to audit what we do, which is really, really dumb. It's like putting the crash test dummies in charge of making the cars.
Right.
But in any case, I'll digress. Um,
That doesn't sound like a terrible idea, by the way, especially when you think about Volkswagen engineers and the
well, no, I don't mean
emissions.
it that way. I can give you better examples. I'm just saying putting the wolf in charge of the hen
I
house. Let's put it that
understand.
way.
I understand.
Banks are against debt settlement companies, so let's let them regulate them. That doesn't make any sense.
All right.
The
So,
State Department of Banking is who regulates all debt settlement firms, and basically their whole regulation is how do we put them out of business.
all right. So, Adam, this example of this is repeat the name of the company again.
United Collections Bureau.
All right.
And
So,
they
United
collect.
Collections.
They
United
only
Collect.
hold on. They only collect for two banks,
Okay. So,
Citi and Chase.
United Collections Bureau has taken this tactique, and I think your message is for your clients or prospective clients is that this idea that a client would have no idea how to deal with that, and the idea that the debt is actually canceled sounds like a complete fantasy. But the truth is, you're making it a reality, and
It is dismissed.
yeah.
We have paper documentation. That debt will never, ever, ever have to be paid.
And does this are they representing banks who allowed a significant amount of debt, or are these 5 and 10?
They represent only two banks, as I said, Chase and Citi. And
But
yes,
do they
some
have-
of the debt amounts are
they
very
have-
significant.
Like 20 and 30,000.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow.
We had one today that came in from United Collections Bureau, $19,461. And they're willing to settle for $7,000, but not if we pay them. Only if the client pays them from a personal account.
All right, Adam. I'm moving on. We've done disclaimers. You did this American Collections Bureau thing. As your middle-aged receptionist, I know we've talked too much about this woman in Orange County, but she keeps calling me.
If you talk to me about Miss T. Wynn again,
all right. So listen,
she's never getting her letter. End of story.
I just want you to know that you got me the letter as you promised last week, and I forwarded it to her, and she's confirmed she has it. So,
Eureka.
the two debts that she has with you, one of them, as you know, has been done, but now the client has now received it and acknowledged that she received it and gave me some, polite, kind words via text like "thank you." So,
what about I'm sorry, because she claimed not to have it for a whole week.
Yeah, Adam, you want me to seek an apology? Is this like TMZ or something? We're going to let that go, right?
No, but
all right.
We'll let it go.
So, Adam, as the other client I had this week is the woman in Oregon, and she wanted an update, and the update sounded like it was too complicated to have your humble middle-aged receptionist handle it. Robert ended up handling it. Tell me what happened.
Well, she wanted to waltz, Robert wanted a tango, and they decided on a foxtrot.
Okay, good. Say more.
She wanted to know where she stood on several creditors. We're in the middle of paying 3 creditors, leaving her no money to work with until we finish. So we told her we're using stall and delay tactics so that we can finish paying the 3 we're paying and get on the next 2.
Okay. So
limited funds mean limited negotiations.
Okay, from my idea, it's been a month since she's contacted me. Does that mean she hasn't contacted you in that same month?
We spoke to her once during that month.
Okay.
You see, what seems like a long time, a month seems like a long time, but only one payment has been made in that month.
Right,
and that
right.
One payment is not a significant number. So, when a client says, well, it's been a whole month, yeah, but what has happened on your account? You made one deposit of $500 or $600, and you owe $17,000. It's a drip or drop in the bucket, depending on how you say it.
Right, right. Okay, Adam.
We need to accumulate more money, more money, more money.
I want to move one other thing, and I'm going to transition to pop topics. What I want to do is say, if someone were, I'm trying to imagine what this sounds like, and I do listen to our recordings after we do this, and I try to imagine what it sounds like from the ear of a person considering solutions to debt, and it sounds like a mess. It sounds like the fundamental question is, how could they, being not just you, but other credible businesses in your industry, how can they get their first client when all of this messy stuff happens? Why would anyone get in a program when they seem to become unglued, as our own conversations reveal.
Well, I can answer that for you. The banking system has set it up this way. So here's why somebody would go through that chaos. You take out a $10,000 credit card with Chase and you run it up to the full amount of $10,000 because of life circumstances, whatever they may be. And you have a nice low interest rate, say 2 or 3%. Your minimum payment is about $220 a month. And you would think to yourself for a moment, if you didn't know, which most people don't, well, if I pay $220 a month, I need about 50 payments to pay $10,000. So this shouldn't be too bad. In 50 months, I'll be debt free. That's not so horrible. I can do that. And then you take a look, which most people never do, at the bottom of your credit card statement. And it tells you there that if you continue making the minimum payment, it will take you 13 and a half years to finish paying off the credit card. Here you thought you'd be done in under 5, and they're telling you it's going to take 13 because of the interest and finance charges they add every month, even at 3%. Then you say to yourself, well, I can't keep paying this $220 a month for 13 years, and what if I need to use the card again? Then it's back to max. It's as though I never made a payment. Do this with 3 or 4 cards, and all of a sudden you have an insurmountable 13 years of payments to make.
Right.
That's why that in itself, and you have a daughter or a son going to college, your car broke down and you need a new car, you can't afford to keep paying this $800 a month indefinitely for 13 to 17 years to pay off $10,000. In some cases, I've actually seen credit cards of $10K where if you make the minimum payment, it's going to take 27 years to pay it off.
Yeah, yeah. And
that's on a high interest card.
That's someone that had bad credit when they got the card.
Correct. It's a high interest card with 20% or more interest. A mortgage takes that long to pay off, and that's a very big purchase. 2, 3, 4, 5, 600,000 takes 30 years. 10,000 should never take 30 years to pay off.
Okay, so you just talked about a disaster to try to go it alone or try to just pay it in full as everyone wants to do.
We've had clients who said they could do it better on them. We've had clients who always say to it, we've had lots of clients that say to us, I could do this on my own. And I'll tell you right now, and this is not an exaggeration, but 99.9% of them end up coming back to us.
Right, right. So Adam,
is possible. Susie Orman doesn't lie. Wait, I want them to know. Susie Orman doesn't lie. All these financial professionals who tell you you can do it yourself, they're not lying. You can do it yourself. You won't get the same results we can get for you, number one, and you likely will be incredibly frustrated in the process.
Right,
number two, it will cause your blood pressure to go up because you have an emotional attachment to your debt. You have a desire to settle it out that we don't. We have a desire to settle it out in your best interest and because of our company, but you have a personal desire to settle it out and a number that you think is fair, and the bank doesn't care what you think is fair. They care about meeting a percentage and a certain bottom line that our company has experience in knowing.
Right. So, and also, Adam, to people doing it on their own, this American Collection Company,
United Collection Bureau.
United Collection Bureau. This company is an example of how you wouldn't. How would a consumer ever know how to handle someone that rejects their check? I mean,
simply because it came from a type of account they don't like.
Right, right. So you have a lawyer on staff. It's part of the program. You can get a client out of that mess, not only out of it, but get the debt canceled. Whereas a consumer doing it on his or her or their own wouldn't have the same.
I recently attended a conference where I learned some more important things, which are Fair Debt Collection Practices Act violations can negate an entire debt.
Right.
Not only do you win an award for the violation where they pay you because they violated your rights, but in addition, the debt is no longer deemed collectible.
Right. All right, Adam. I'm gonna transition to pop topics. You want to do anything else on debt?
No. I don't want to do anything else on debt.
All right.
Let's go pop.
Again, I want to comment. I wanted to put this at the beginning, but I think about listeners, and I want to, I don't want them to click off too soon. I want to get right into the content. if I have listeners, if we have listeners who are still with us now, they, of course, could be the two kinds, ones that are seeking solution to debt and others who are just listening to us for the hell of it. So,
They like when we argue.
right, right. So both parties, I want you to know that we are open to questions. And I have changed, Adam. You will know this. I didn't tell you about it in advance, but there is now a line right below the video as it shows in Google Plus, and it says to get our attention during the program, you can text my number because I get an audio ping if anyone texts or calls me. And then the other option, of course, is what Mitzi did on her own, which is where she put a tag into the Google Plus thing. So those are both options ongoing. I did also
Yeah,
give,
we would love some live questions for
Right.
future debt talk.
so I did Mitzi, that one woman that tried to ask a question, but we didn't have our attention in the right place. These are two efforts to fix that. And I also did a reminder to Betsy at the beginning of this, Adam. And I'm getting a phone call, Adam, and I can't believe I'm taking this, but I am. Hi, Tom Duty.
Yes, sir. How are you today?
Izzy, I need 3 minutes. I'm going to call you back. All right. Ciao. All right. So, Adam.
Just so you know, no, he isn't.
All right. So, Adam, that's
He
a
said,
thing
is he?
I want you to know about trying to solicit participation. Now, the other thing is just pop topics. You know, if we got people listening this long, let's just talk about something that's a little bit more fun, like New York. What are the big three events this week? You just saw a clue walk by. Halloween, the World Series, and the New York Marathon. So you're a New
Okay,
Yorker.
wait. Two of those three things are New York. One of them is Universal.
Yeah, but there are three big events in New York City. Yeah, you're right. New York doesn't have claim to Halloween. I think Mexico does.
No, we're having a big event here tomorrow, too.
All right, let's stay with New York. Can we stay with New York? Adam, we do have the World
I
Series.
moved away from New York just
We-
to
no,
not stay with
We
New York.
do have
Okay,
the
go
World
ahead.
Series, and I don't think you do. You're not in Missouri. So, Adam, what if you were in this city? What would you think about all the activity? Would you engage in any of it? I don't think you'd be running in the marathon, and if you dressed up for Halloween, what would you wear?
If I was dressed up for Halloween, I'd either be Mike Myers or Jason. I'm a classicist.
Mike Myers. What?
Yeah, from the Halloween movies.
Oh, okay. What was the other one?
The other one is Jason, the other classic slasher.
Okay. All right. Well, we've had some Halloween people pass me while we've been on this platform. I have seen those characters nada. So popular
Well,
costumes.
you
I
gotta
heard.
remember, you're doing pop here. I happen to be, in my spare time outside of the debt world, a professional magician. And so when I do Mike Myers or Jason for Halloween, I scare the living crap out of people on the street by just disappearing. They see me standing there breathing heavy and it's kind of spooky, and they walk by and then they always turn around to see what I'm doing next, and I'm not there anymore, and they start walking a lot faster.
Okay. Did you do that in the Manhattan Parade or just like in your Brooklyn
No,
area?
I do that on side streets and avenues all over the 5 boroughs.
Yeah.
Now I do it in Arizona, except out here I'm a little more afraid they'll shoot me.
Right. Oh, by the way, speaking of guns, Donald Trump says he would feel more comfortable if his employees carried guns. Do you think he means that?
I think he means it. He just doesn't realize he'd be 80% more likely to be shot in one of his casinos.
He wants to allow guns in his casinos also.
Yes, I know. I would tell anyone considering to go to one of his casinos, if they start allowing the employees to carry weapons, that they'd have a 70% greater chance of being shot in that casino, and they might want to go to another one.
Yeah, I would think so, Adam. I mean, you got alcohol and you have games of chance where money is exchanged. This sounds like if you ever want gun-free zones, which Donald says is a disaster, a gambling casino would be one of them.
A bar, a gambling casino, a political event, a religious event are places where guns should be banned, no matter what. I don't care what the Second Amendment says.
All right, Adam, I hate to say this, but the Republicans made some sense out of these gun-free zones. You got these gun-free zones, that's where the wackies are going when they want a mass murder. They're going to go where no one else has guns. Is that true in Oregon? Did that campus, they had a gun-free zone?
all campuses were gun-free zones until recently.
Right. So the
But
Oregon.
here's the thing. I don't believe in that. You see, they're pointing out one. The movie theater wasn't a gun-free zone in Colorado. The shopping mall in Oregon from a year ago wasn't a gun-free zone. The parking lot where Gabby Giffords was shot was not a gun-free zone. And in fact, two of the people watching her speech had guns on them and couldn't stop the violence from happening. All they could do was duck and take cover.
Right, and they did not even shoot the guns, right?
They could not, right, exactly. The guns never came into play. In fact, an older woman stopped the shooter when he ran out of bullets.
By the way, did you see the bikers in Texas during the gunfight? There was a video released this week.
Yes. Somebody close to you sent me a video on that, and yes, I did see it.
Yeah. All right, Adam, I got to call.
Yeah.
I just want to, on our promise to do something lighter, which I knew was impossible, I attempted to do World Series, Halloween, or the New York City Marathon. We ended up doing guns. I don't know what
hold
that
on a minute. I can sum up the other two real quick for you.
Uh,
World Series and New York City Marathon means stay in your house because you're not going to be able to get anywhere.
All right, amigo. Adam, your contact information. And the information is in the text attached to this YouTube audio, and it includes the Adam's toll-free number, which is 866-516-1985. I refer to myself as middle-aged receptionist in this series that I do with Adam, and that's because I answer his phone. That is a phone I answer 8 hours a week, 866-516-1985. And Adam also has a website, which is also linked in the video, and that is financialrescuers.com. That's it, Adam.
Call me.
This has been Tom Duty with Adam Strom, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, a restful night's sleep. Ciao.
Buen fin de semana.
Ciao. Igualmente.